What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
I'm Tom, the OG Fit Kid, the staple of the Turnbuckle Debate.
And joining us as our special guest today, we have Hunter from the Atomic Elbow account on Instagram. What's going on, man? How are you?
Doing great. Glad to be here, guys. Ready to get this shit going.
Yeah, man.
We're pumped, man.
We're pumped. Your account, Hunter runs the Atomic Elbow on Instagram. It's a meme account. I'm sure if you're a wrestling fan, you're listening to this show, you probably already follow it. If you don't follow it, please go follow the Atomic Elbow. Some of the best wrestling memes on social media. Dude, when did you start it? Like, what made you start this account?
So I also run Snacky Tuna on Instagram. That's
I know that one too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first account I created. And then I did like a week-long thing of nothing but wrestling memes. And I was like, man, this is hitting different. So I've just made a whole different account, and it kind of became just like my passion project on the side. And it just grew like its own kind of cult following, which I love. It's my favorite account that I run. Snacky Tuna is the one that gets me work, so I like it. But Atomic Elbow is like where my soul is.
Oh, dude! Anytime you use Paul Bearer like Paul Bearer in your memes, it just destroys me. So good, man. It's so good. Yeah. So, guys, definitely go follow the Atomic Elbow. One of the best wrestling memes in social media. But
so good.
We got some topics we're going to get into. Typically, we'll have some current stuff, but we wanted to go old school this episode. So we have 3 old school topics, and I think it's going to be fun. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Here we go. Our first topic of the evening. Who was the better big man, Kevin Nash, Big Bossman, or Vader?
I love this question.
It's a tough question.
It's a very tough question.
I you know what? I thought about it, and it just coming back to the same answer every time. I have to go Vader.
Yeah,
I think that guy could do it. His size was just amazing, especially at that day and age when nobody his size was really doing what he did.
That moonsault was incredible.
Man, that's the thing. That might be what put it over the edge for me to pick Vader, but you know, and that's what I leaned on initially when I went in to make my pick was the moonsault and the agility that he had in the ring. Because as a big man, I mean, not to take anything away, because one of the most agile big men ever was Big Boss Man.
Yeah, dude.
That dude, nobody as big as what he was doing slides into the ring to go after his opponents. But with Vader, it was the moonsault, and then you know, looking back on his story too about how he gained his popularity in All Japan and New Japan, before you know coming into WCW as an already established. I mean, he came in as a superstar over there.
Yeah,
and you know they got him for cheap, and then put the rocket on him and made him a monster.
Yeah,
I gotta go. I go Vader.
Hunter, what do you think?
So if I was ranking them, I would probably go Vader, Bossman, Nash. But the only setback I see with Vader is he wasn't as good on the mic.
Yeah.
I would put Nash at the top of that.
Oh,
Nash's matches were always terrible for the most part. It seemed like
so
on the mic, he was great.
Yeah,
Vader, not so much.
Kevin Nash just had a cool factor on the mic, man.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette and all them helped out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. For me, I mean, if you're looking at like things they were involved in that affected the wrestling business. I mean, it's very easy to go Kevin Nash with the formation of the New World Order and him coming in right after Scott Hall came in and all of that. Even his work as Diesel. I mean, that run with Shawn Michaels in the New Generation era was really good. And Bossman, like all the iterations of Bossman, we forget, like he came back with the fucking SWAT gear in the Attitude Era and like was a part of the corporation. And he even had runs as Ray Trailer,
Guardian Angel.
Like he did so many. I mean, we all know and love him, I feel like, from his early 90s golden era Cobb County, Georgia character.
Yeah.
I love that.
The Nails feud.
But I mean, I wish I could like stir the pot and argue for one of the other guys, but I gotta go with everyone else, man. Vader is my number one. Partly because I'm not a big fan of his WWE run, but his WCW run, man. When he came in from All Japan and was having matches with Sting,
Sid Vicious.
Oh man, he was just crushing it.
Cactus.
And there was nobody like him at that time. I feel like he was truly scary. And I gotta give props to a guy who goes overseas and some shithead reporter talks about wrestling being fake and he slaps the shit out of him. Like all the props in the world, Vader. So I'm going Big Van Vader for sure.
Big Van Vader and Sting had that strap match.
Yep.
That was so brutal, man. As a kid watching that, like that, I was so enthralled by that.
Was that Halloween Havoc?
I think so. Yeah.
Just a tough son of a bitch. I was so excited when he came to WWE and was so disappointed with that we just got a watered down version of what he was, and we never got to see him be that big, dominant, scary guy that I had seen, in WCW when I would tune in. Because being a diehard WWE fan, I didn't see much of him, but what I did, I was like, oh my god, that guy's amazing. He's scary.
And then it went from the moonsault to kind of just the Vader bomb, and you could tell it was because he wasn't good on the mic at the beginning. I was like his aura was enough because he was terrifying, but the older he got, he didn't age as well. Like Big Boss Man, the longevity.
Yeah.
Yep.
And dude, when they had Vader propped up with Harley Race, and he would just come in. He couldn't give some eloquent speech, but some of his promos, especially during like the White Castle of Fear shit, so good. Just over the top silliness. When you're a kid, that shit is just, I don't know, man, it grabs you.
Yeah. And I think the best thing we got out of the WWE run towards the end was his entrance song.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time. It's Vader.
The hand, he would always
was his
great
first night on Raw when he attacked Gorilla Monsoon and avalanched him, and like it looked like they were gonna make him a monster.
Yeah,
it was downhill from there. Like you never saw anybody put their hands on Gorilla Monsoon for years, like ever. And all of a sudden Vader comes in and he just does that, and it's like wow. And then what a letdown.
Do you think Bossman kind of like didn't reach his full potential in the golden era? I feel like we didn't really get to see all of him,
I also remember that year where everybody forgot about him because he had like a 3-month run with like a him and a Doink storyline. I'm tuning out at that point.
He had a big run with Hogan back in the 80s where he was a main event guy for a while too, back even early on in the golden era. So
he had good intercontinental matches with Mr. Perfect too.
Yes. Yeah.
And dude, I think an underrated, I was a kid. I don't think the payoff was that well, but the story before they executed on it, the Nails storyline. As a kid, I was like, it was the perfect story. The ex-con that Big Boss Man locked away, coming back to get revenge. I was like, what is going on here? And I was like a tiny kid loving it.
And Nails looked he was scary, man.
Yeah.
We can't not mention the Big Show in the Big Boss Man story.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my lord!
What was the storyline there when? Because it ends with Bossman dragging Big Show's dead father, or
Yeah,
Wasn't Big Show on the coffin as he was
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, the coffin. Oh God.
dragging the coffin through the cemetery.
But Bossman played it so well. Like he could just make you believe anything.
Man, wrestling used to be so wild.
I know it.
You can't do that shit anymore.
You can't.
what else could you have a conversation about where you make the statement he was dragged through the cemetery on his dad's coffin? And we're just 4 grown-ass men sitting here talking about it, you know?
Oh man.
He was an underrated promo, man. Bossman was an underrated promo.
He really, really was. He was so good. I remember him as he was Big Bubba Rogers even before coming to WWE when I used to watch WCCW on ESPN.
He was Big Bubba Rogers in WCW too, wasn't he?
Yeah. For a while he was.
Yeah.
Now, Tom, you brought up how, you didn't, how Vader came to WWE and they kind of watered him down. I think Kevin Nash is one of those rare occasions where they made him
100%.
like how they brought Taker
and Vinny Vegas.
Yeah, Oz, Vinny Vegas, and I liked Vinny Vegas.
He was cool.
He was cool. He did the snake eyes.
They did everything right by him in WWE by letting him just start by being Shawn Michaels' bodyguard and slowly working him in, and probably he was working in the ring that time and getting better with a bunch of the guys there.
If you think about it, it's a very Wardlow way to book a guy.
Yeah.
Stick him with a top tier guy, let him be kind of the heavy, and then slowly make him the star himself.
Yeah.
That whole Diesel Shawn Michaels thing at the beginning when they look like your aunt and uncle at the Harley Davidson store.
They really did.
Oh man.
The white leather that they
the studded hats and shit.
The chains and mirrors on it.
Yeah, the chains and the mirrors are what killed me on Shawn Michaels gear.
It's so fun. And let's not forget about Vader too. I don't know if you guys remember, he was Ethan Supplé's dad
on Boy Meets World.
World.
That's right. You had the major crossover there.
I thought that was cool as shit when I was a kid.
Oh,
I used to love watching Boy Meets World for that. I loved Boy Meets World. I was a little boy.
It was like TGIF, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Everybody turned in for Topanga. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
And she's a huge wrestling fan now.
Yeah.
Danielle Fishel.
Yep.
Tom knows everything about her.
So all around the horn, everybody's got Vader.
I don't think there's a question.
I thought
I agree with Single H with the order he put them in. I would put Nash last as a worker.
Easy. Yeah. It's not even close. Like Nash never did it for me in the ring ever.
No,
nope, I agree.
Nope.
The best thing he had was Vinny Vegas's Snake Eyes finisher, where he drop him on the top turnbuckle.
I think he's doing the dice thing too much.
He's doing the dice thing. Yeah. All right. Well, I think the consensus says Vader.
Vader. Not much of a debate there, but
you guys ready to move on to the second topic of the evening?
Let's do it.
All right. Second topic of the evening. Now, Hunter, this is the one that you brought to the table. So, NWO Black and White or NWO Wolfpack? And I'm going to defer to you since you're the one that brought it up.
I'll start it out. I hate the Wolfpack. I think it was the beginning of the downfall of all of it. Because they took all the good people out of NWO Hollywood. And then they just kind of bounced them back and forth. And you made a heel faction with a babyface faction within the W. None of it made sense. I hated it. The beginning of the NWO was by far the greatest fucking years of my life as a kid. I loved that. But once they did the Wolfpack thing, I think they diluted the whole thing. But when I was a kid, everybody loved the Wolfpack at the beginning. But I always I don't like this. I don't like it at all.
You're so right, man. Everybody loved the Wolfpack, and I should have loved the Wolfpack because it had Sting in it, and I was like all over some Sting. But there was something weird about Sting being in the NWO, and then he's got red paint now, and they have the Wolfpack entrance music was whatever, but I didn't like. I'm with you, man. I did not like NWO Wolfpack. I thought it started to get too. I almost think Wolfpack was WCW's attempt to get more from NWO because it was dying before that.
Yeah.
There were so many people joining it that it was kind of losing steam. So they're like, okay, let's have two factions within one faction and they'll start warring against each other. And that's when I was just checked out of it. I
brought this to the table because everybody I bring this up to is like, no, Wolfpack. Everybody loved it. I feel like I'm the only person that's been on this side of it.
Yeah, I feel like that's when they jumped to shark. Hey, let's go and do this. We got to do something. They should have made it more like those guys would jump into WCW side. And I think it would have been a more interesting story.
Keep Sting. Sting should have never been New World Order.
No.
Ever.
Yeah.
No, the fact that he joined Wolfpack it never felt right.
Yeah.
That never felt right.
It's hard to stack anything up against that first 5-6 months of NWO. Like, it's hard to put anything up against that because it's so, especially those first like 3 when they had like just a handful of guys, man, it was so good. Yeah,
again, and they just got carried away at the beginning. That was the best faction ever in the beginning. If they would have just kept it that way, and they didn't need to keep adding that.
Thing isn't coming out of the rafters anymore. What are we doing here?
Right.
They played real heavy on the Luger Sting friendship too.
Yeah, that became a big thing.
That was a big thing, and it was almost go away heat for me. Like I just didn't like it that we saw this badass faction, and now we're seeing a happy version of it.
Right.
Yeah. Within, that was supposed to be the WCW and the Four Horsemen and all that kind of stuff. You just added another. Yeah. And then you watered down the Hollywood side of it where it's so old. It was what? Hogan, Scott Norton,
Horace,
the Disciple. What do we even, they've ruined it.
It was like the all-star team on Wolfpack against just the junior varsity scrubs.
They even brought in, and didn't they in the end bring in Bret Hart to the Hollywood side?
Trying to put some life into it.
Yeah, like at that point, it's just done, man. Like you've squeezed every bit of juice out of it that you can. When you've got people like the list of people on Wikipedia, which I don't have it up, I should have had it up, but the list of people in the NWO
wasn't Jeff Jarrett in the black and white NWO at a certain point.
Yeah. Who wasn't in there at some point though? They were
getting everybody in there.
El Dandy, was he in there?
El Dandy,
good lord.
Lash LaRue.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Disco Inferno got in there at some point.
Yeah. Louis Spicoli.
Glacier.
Did RoboCop ever enter the NWO?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
What was Alex Wright's character at Berlin?
Berlin, when he wasn't the dancer anymore, he was very serious. Berlin.
Yeah. I will say, because obviously I think my pick obviously is NWO black and white. Like that's over Wolfpack all day. I will say that Conan was super entertaining in the Wolfpack.
He was probably the best part of it.
To me, he was the best part of the Wolfpack.
His matches were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was underrated, man. Conan, like go back and look at him when he first came in, like 95, 96, when he first started working in WCW. Dude was fucking jacked.
Yeah.
Like he was a beast. He kind of like, you remember him in those flannels and stuff kind of covered up, but man, guy was like working his ass off during those days.
Yeah, he was a beast. Some of the things, like looking back on it, some of the things he said on the mic was a little now it's like that I know, and I'm not 13 and
what did he say?
Toss my salad and peel my potato. Like that's that like I don't. That's a drawback a little bit.
Yeah, as a kid, you're like, huh? What's that mean?
As a kid, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, toss my salad. Like, but
Having no idea.
yeah,
Went
but
into school the next day pointing at everybody. I'm going to toss your salad. I'm going to toss your salad.
Yeah, exactly.
well, let's go to the lunchroom.
So, do you guys think? I feel like the Wolfpack kind of feels like once Sting talked and had the match with Hogan at Starrcade, it's like they didn't know where to go after that because they had 18 months of Sting hiding in the rafters, being quiet, popping up here and there. And then it's like once the big payoff happened and we finally got that match, everybody was like, okay, what next?
Yeah, I don't know why. They should have just had a falling out within the NWO and then just kind of reform it, reshape it over time, but just creating a whole nother it was awful.
Didn't the whole feud between them end with the finger poke though? Wasn't that what ended it?
Yeah, and then it became the NWO Elite after that.
Yeah.
And then it was over.
When didn't we get an LWO, Latino World Order? Didn't that come in?
Great. La Parka. Man, I love La Parka.
Parka's great.
Parka's awesome.
I still do the La Parka dance every once in a while. If I find a folding chair, you better believe it.
He was good, man. That whole cruiserweight division, the luchador work there was awesome. But
oh man, you know, that's the other thing about WCW. I love that era, the beginning of the like the new NWO, the Outsiders, all that. That was the best, and they had so much talent, but they would always start out every pay-per-view with Glacier, and I would hate it. There was nothing more disappointing as a kid than when the pay-per-view started and Glacier was already in the ring.
yeah, the blue light on him. And do you remember any? Here's what's funny about the Wolfpack, and this is why probably I can't pick the Wolfpack outside of me not really being into them. I don't remember a major storyline outside of did they have any major storylines outside of the whole infighting of NWO? Like, what was their big thing?
I don't know. Go ahead, Hunter.
Well, I know, so that was at the beginning, because Kurt Hennig was there and Rick Rude was there, but they were only there for 2 weeks and they defected back. But there was never any storyline as to why people were going back and forth. It's like they weren't sure who needed to be there. You try to throw Kurt Hennig and Rick Rude into a babyface faction, that's not going to work.
Yeah, they didn't know what they were doing.
Keep them in the West Texas Rednecks.
Yeah, I love that group too.
Over there.
Rap is crap.
So it looks like I'm going through different iterations here, and the NWO Elite from January 4th of 99 to August 16th of 99, we had Disco Inferno, David Flair, Torrie Wilson, and Rick Steiner.
I don't remember
what.
I knew I saw Disco Inferno and NWO closed.
I mean,
what was this tied in? Was the Wolfpack tied into the David Flair taser on a pole match?
Yep. Yeah.
Because we were there live for that match.
Yeah.
That was sold out.
Yep.
As you can hear, this is kind of when I started fizzling out of WCW.
Oh, yeah. This is when I was turning it onto USA and checking out what Stone Cold was doing.
Yeah. Just anybody listening, if you go to the NWO Wikipedia page and just go through the different iterations of the NWO, boy, it is something.
Yeah.
So I have a question then. Since you guys brought this all up, we know the Attitude Era took over, but was it really the Attitude Era taken off, or was it the NWO dying to let WWE take the ratings lead again? And people getting tired of that, saying, let me flip the channel. Yeah, maybe if it stays good, they don't flip the channel.
Yeah, I think you're dead on. Yeah.
It's a good argument. Yeah, I can see that.
I think WCW, they lost the war more from a self-inflicted wound.
Like they shot themselves in the foot
than taking fire. Not to say WWE was doing phenomenal shit. I mean, we all love Stone Cold, Taker, The Rock, Triple H, love that shit. But say the quality never fell off, and say when say when they were hitting their groove right in the beginning of the New World Order, what if they stayed at that level and WWE then came in with the stone? How would it have shook out then?
Yeah.
Because like, I think that WCW's shitty booking made people turn the channel a lot.
Coughing on roller skates.
Yeah.
At that point. Yeah. Here's kind of I'm going through and reading here. You mentioned Louis Piccoli, who was in the NWO.
I thought he was.
But listen to this fact. He joined on January 15th, 1998. It was an episode of Thunder, and he became a valet for Scott Hall. He died on February 15th, 98.
Wow.
So he joined a month later.
I know he died like right in the height of like a push.
Yeah, he joined. He was a valet for Scott Hall, and then a month later died.
Because he had that Spicoli driver, which was like the Death Valley driver.
Yeah, if they're putting you with Scott Hall in that time frame, you're about to get a big push.
Yeah, because this was 98.
That's before it really started falling apart. 98 to me was like the last solid year for WCW, and then it all just kind of
it was that Starrcade.
Yeah,
that Starrcade. From there, it was just a face first off a cliff.
Yeah. The coffin on roller skates line from Shivani on his podcast.
You remember how problematic those like last 2 years of the WCW was when like what was it, Scott Steiner was like their main. Oh man, those were rough times. There
was like, what was it called? The New Blood was a faction, and that's when Russo. I remember right when Russo came in and started really taking over, and he cut that like shoot work promo on who was it, Hogan?
Yeah.
I remember even as a kid, the only thing that was intriguing about that was like, okay, is this real? Because I feel like this company's just a shit show right now.
Yeah.
Like it felt like you could see real stuff happen on that show because it was so just mismanaged, unorganized.
This last 2 or 3 years turned into like Maury Povich.
Yeah, it was awful. Like they came in, I think it was Russo came in and stripped everybody of their titles.
Yep.
Like it was
they wanted to start from
everybody. Yeah. And it was like, what are we doing? What is happening?
That's Filthy Animal days. Vampiro feuding with Sting.
Dale Torborg, the Demon.
Big Vito, Johnny Bull.
Oh man, there's so much content in my head. I can't wait to look up pictures of Vampiro after this.
What was the match where it was some wild match where they climbed up onto the big Titantron thing, and fell off. It was at that pay-per-view Sin.
Yeah. Yep. Was it Hack involved?
Hack.
Hardcore Hack.
Sandman.
God.
They had Tank Abbott, man, try to counter the Ken Shamrock on the other channel.
And then they put him in a dance group.
Yeah, they did. I forgot about that.
What was it, 3 count?
3 count.
Yeah. They put when you're putting Tank Abbott in a boy band dance group, come on, man. That's it. You're done.
Too cool.
Yeah.
It
was very much like Too Cool.
Close the doors. Isn't that where Brian Kendrick? Somebody came from 3 count. Shannon.
Hurricane was
Hurricane.
It? Yeah.
Shane
Helms. Yeah.
I don't know. NWO black and white for me.
All day.
Yeah. And if Hunter, if you get anybody that will argue for Wolfpack, we'll do it again. Bring them on. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear that argument. All right. Everybody, any final things to say before we move on to the final topic?
Nope.
All right. NWO Hollywood, NWO black and white.
All day. Here we go.
For life.
Final topic of the evening. If you take away Hell in a Cell and his hardcore work, does Mick Foley make an impact?
What a question. I mean, you're talking about the guy is a legend, and the guy can cut a promo like nobody else when he gets in the ring and he goes off on one of his tangents. But does he get to cut those promos if he's not the hardcore guy? That's the question. Like the guy was meaningful in what he did. His promos were amazing. His work as Mankind was amazing. His interview with Jim Ross was amazing. But if he's not what he is, does that ever get to happen? Like that's what I've been trying to wonder with. How does he become relevant? Because he wasn't the worker of like Shawn Michaels or anything. I am leaning more towards no than yes. Although with the genius mind Mick Foley, he probably would have found a way to get himself over.
I think he would have made a place for himself in pro wrestling. I think he's just too good, and I think he's an underrated worker. Is he a worker like Shawn Michaels? No, but in his own way, his work is phenomenal.
Yeah,
like,
he sells.
His selling, like everything Mick Foley does, the promo work. I mean, he has all the tools where I feel like you could definitely take out that hardcore element and, you know, take away his death matches in Japan, take away those things, and he could still be looked at as someone who was fun to watch and good. But I don't think he would have reached kind of the cult hero status. Taking that bump off anyone does that bump. I mean, he's the guy who did it, and I don't think there's hardly anyone in pro wrestling that would do that. But if anyone takes that bump at that time in that era, they're getting that cult hero status. I don't think it was because it was Mick Foley.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like,
exactly.
Did he make that bump or did the bump make him? But I think he made a career out of like putting his body on the line. I mean, go back to WCW when he was doing elbow drops onto a concrete floor, like off of the, so he did that. But if you strip all of that moveset, all of that out of his game, I do think he would have made some sort of impact, but he wouldn't have reached this iconic cult hero status. Because if you really think about the way people talk about Mick Foley, they mention it. He's right there with the Rocks, the Stone Colds, the Triple H's of that era. He was right in the mix with all of them.
But here's the thing. You say if anybody takes that bump, you know, they get it. But Mick Foley knew how to sell it. Like just going through the cage after that and then looking in the camera and sticking his tongue through his lip. Like nobody else is going to do that. He just made it more special by being him. Like, sure, anybody would have gotten a push for that, but he got the bigger push because of the way he did everything else in that match.
Well, and it kind of held him to a standard too.
Yes.
Like once he did that and proved that he was just double tough, then like all these other matches.
He was the first stunt man, pretty much.
Yep.
The big time stunt man. Not a great wrestler, in my opinion. You take away the Hell in a Cell match, I am against Mick Foley. And
really?
His shitty Cactus Jack poo pants. I'm on the Ric Flair side of this. I think he's just a stunt man. Great. Perfect timing on all of it. It worked. We'll always remember his work. But if you take Hell in a Cell away and you take away a lot of that hardcore stuff, I don't know, man.
How different is Mick Foley really than Kevin Owens in the ring? They're very, very similar styles. Kevin Owens doesn't do the crazy stuff Mick Foley did.
I feel like Kevin Owens has a more dynamic offense. Like some of the moves he's pulling off are stuff that Mick wasn't doing. I mean, Mick's great, but I get what Ric Flair said too. Like if you talk about in-ring pro wrestling,
oh yeah,
he wasn't having 60-minute Broadways, you know, like he wasn't known for that. I mean, he definitely shined up babyface is good. He was kind of one of those guys. Like if he was in WWE, he would have been one of those heels that they fed to Hogan.
Yeah.
A big guy, and that's kind of what he came into WWE to do is we need a guy for Taker.
Yep.
So they fed him to Taker and they had that great boiler room match, you know, all of that stuff. But
he did it to Punk. He put Punk over as a heel too.
The Edge match, the hardcore match with Edge at Mania, like.
And what happens if he never gets to sit down with Jim Ross? That reval. I can't even say the freaking word.
Revitalized.
Thank you. The rest of his career, that gave him more to work off of. That gave us Dude Love. That brought us back Cactus Jack.
But imagine if he was just Dude Love, he would have shit the bed.
No. He'd have
Yeah,
been
absolutely.
Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
Yeah.
100%.
It'd have been,
They've
yeah.
been opening up WCW pay-per-views with Glacier.
Yeah. I mean, I think he would have been a mid-card dude, man.
Yeah.
Without that hardcore stuff, because anytime, I know we all go to Hell in a Cell, that match, but any other time you bring up Mick Foley, it's in some hardcore element. You know, the edge match. Like, are we thinking of any match where it's like it was just a sound
Wrestling match.
wrestling match? Everything was Hell in a Cell, hardcore.
It was all gimmick matches.
Boiler
man.
Room, buried. Didn't he do Buried Alive?
Yeah.
But look what he did for Randy Orton and Edge, coming back and putting him over at Mania like that. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think he has. I agree with you, Chad. I think he has a place. I don't know. If he's as highly regarded as what he is now if he doesn't have that hardcore career. I mean, everything that he did was based on that legacy. I mean, that's his place in professional wrestling history. And if he doesn't have that, I don't think his work was solid enough to make him have a huge impact.
And he was kind of in a bad spot too. If you think coming into like WWE, he's bigger than what people think he is. He's a tall dude.
Yeah.
But he was kind of in a really shitty spot because he wasn't a cruiserweight, but he wasn't that Vince McMahon big body type either. He kind of looks sloppy, which is like Vince hates.
Clothing choices never helped. I understand what he was going for, but sometimes it was too much. The pants were awful. I hated all his Mankind pants, his Dude Love pants, his Cactus Jack pants were I can't believe they allowed that out there.
He had like the slightly overweight 50-year-old fupa going.
Yeah.
It was always saggy right in the butthole part.
So true.
It is
Looked
true.
like he
man.
had like a diaper that needs changed like 3 weeks ago.
He always
It's
wore
like-
Sam's Club sweatpants.
Yeah, it's like the sweatpants you've been wallering in all weekend, and you went to work in them on Monday.
Yeah.
The Sam's Club sweatpants for sure.
It's those sweatpants they're like gray pair of sweatpants where you go out and work in the garden and like certain angles you can't tell if they're dirty, but they really look dirty if you look at them.
I don't even know if
Like
I'd go Sam's Club sweatpants. I might go Dollar General
Oh yeah.
sweatpants.
I'm going to spend probably 5 hours tonight photoshopping sweatpants on Mankind.
He might have got his out of a box at CVS at checkout. At the checkout.
Oh yeah.
Or they just
20-pack in
randomly
Costco.
like you know how randomly you'll see shit at like CVS that you don't know how they got a shipment of it. It's that random shipment
It's
of
those the cheap sweatpants that don't even come with pockets.
Yep.
The people there didn't even know it was coming. It's in a weird place on the shelf.
It's right next to the M&Ms.
Next to the M&Ms in the holiday section, the seasonal section.
Perfume for some fucking reason.
It's so
Who has ever went into a CVS to buy perfume?
right.
It's in every one of them. Why? Who's doing that?
The same people that's going in there to buy sweatpants. Mick Foley.
And some of those socks with the studs on the bottom of them.
Oh yeah.
The grippy socks.
Oh, well, look at this though. If you take away Mick Foley's Hell in a Cell, you take away his hardcore stuff, and you take away the comedy,
Oh, yes.
he's done.
Yeah.
He's done.
He is a
Comedy is what got him through the latter part of his career.
Mr.
Yeah.
Soccer.
all that sock and rock connection stuff, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, the comedy definitely got him through the latter part for sure. When his body started breaking down.
He can only be a
God,
stunt
he
man
didn't
for
have
so
writers
long.
back then.
What's that, Hunter?
He can only be a stunt man for so long, especially with that sloppy figure he had.
Man, I saw him at a minor league ballpark one night, and he was leaving, and he just the walk that he had. I mean, you could tell that he was just. I mean, he has to be in pain.
Oh my
God.
Yeah, you can see it in
You know what kind of walk that is? That's the Darby Allin walk 20 years from now.
20. You're giving Darby some extra time if he keeps
He's on a 1-track ticket to Mick Foleyville.
I guess the good thing the thing that he has going for him is he's not as dumpy as what.
Yeah, he's a
Mick
little
Foley-
guy. He's not. Yeah,
got better pants.
yeah.
He's maybe a little bit better in that aspect. But man,
Yeah.
he's gonna be hurting later on.
Those poo pants though, man.
Poo
I
pants.
can't get the poo pants out of my head.
You know where you get them? Truth or Consequences, New Mexico.
That's it.
That's exactly where you get
That's
them.
where they come from.
All right, since we're on Mick Foley, before we get out of here, if you had to pick Mick Foley, just Mick Foley in general, when he started going by Mick, Dude Love, Cactus Jack, or Mankind, who is the best? I'm going Cactus.
Cactus.
Cactus all day.
I'll go Mankind. So I had to look at the pants. Well, then I got to look at Mankind's pants. There's no win with this.
There's no
Okay.
win. Maybe when
Pants
he's
are
playing Santa Claus and he's got the Santa suit on.
Yeah, it's just a red version of the Cactus Jack pants.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
No, I think Cactus, man. Cactus, just because as a kid and the nostalgia from seeing him take these matches where he is doing those elbows on the concrete floor and he's doing the bang bang and the music. And that when I think of the word deranged, that's what I remember where I learned what the word deranged meant was from Cactus Jack.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I remember knowing what deranged meant because I was watching Cactus Jack.
Jim
that's what they would
Ross
call
or
him.
Tony Schiavone probably
Yeah.
filled you in.
I remember the first time he did the bang bang in WWE, I popped so hard. Like, you finally got to be Cactus Jack there. You finally got to see that side of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, that was a good one.
That was fun. All right, we're going to do our round robin.
Yeah, I have a round robin for us. This is a multiple choice round robin. We don't have to debate it. Just I'm going to give you 3 names and you have to pick. If you could only pick one of these names, who would you pick? All right. Sonny. Body Donna's Sonny.
Yeah.
Luna Vachon or Sherry Martel. Again, Sonny, Luna Vachon, or Sherry Martel.
Sherry Martel.
Sherry Martel.
I'm going Luna.
I want to go Luna because I love Luna Vachon, but I got to go Sherry too, man. I got to go Sherry. Harlem Heat, fucking Macho Man, Shawn Michaels. Shoot, so many good.
Run.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. I just wanted to throw a little wrench into it.
Yeah.
I love Luna.
I love
I
Luna. Too.
love Luna too. I knew Sneed was going to pick Luna.
I'll say this, out of those 3, when I think the word in my head, pro wrestler, Luna Vachon is the first one that
Yeah.
to me embodies pro wrestler. Sherry, all of the stuff that I love Sherry for, even though she was an in-ring performer, it was all valet work.
Manager.
She was an amazing in-ring performer. She was the AWA Women's Champion at the same time Rick Martel was the Men's Champion.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You know, I was kind of wondering where you were going with that question because I almost thought I had to pick Sonny, but then I'm like, I think he's talking about in-ring work.
Just overall.
Yeah.
Just overall.
Not to take anything away from Body Donna Sunny. She was good too.
She was hot too.
Yeah, she was hot.
She's not so hot today.
Yeah.
No, those pictures without the makeup in jail.
Can't be hot in a jumpsuit.
You're being kind of
well, okay. All right. Maybe need to read. Yeah. Okay. That's all it took to convince me to. Ain't that sad? That's all it took to convince me of that.
There's no stronger argument than
That's the most strong. That's the most strong argument you could have.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, man.
That's it.
Well, that's going to wrap us up, man. Hunter, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow.
You can find me on atomic elbow on Instagram. Snacky Tuna on Instagram. Those are my pages. I also run Classic Dad Moves on Instagram. That's not my page, but I've been running it for them for the past 2 years, so you can catch some of my stuff there too.
That's awesome, man.
Awesome.
Definitely go check those out, guys. I follow Snacky Tuna and Atomic Elbow. If you want a good laugh consistently throughout the day, follow those accounts.
Give it a follow for sure. All right, guys, that's going to wrap us up for this edition of the Turnbuckle Debate. Make sure you guys are following theturnbuckletavern.com for all your tavern needs. Tom, we got a couple of seconds. You might as well get your shilling in.
If you haven't done it yet, go back and check out the Fig Night coverage from this weekend on YouTube and Turnbuckle Sessions every Friday. Me and Mike Bellcaster.
Go. All right. Court is dismissed.